Jami-Lee Ross.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'm pleased to go after Fletcher Tabuteau. He's actually a very good member of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, very constructive. And then he walks into the House and he's listened to what Winston's told him what to say, and it all turns to custard.
Order.
Mr Speaker, Mr Speaker,
The member will refer to the right honourable gentleman in the proper terms.
I apologise to the right honourable gentleman. Mr Chair, I'm pleased to speak on the financial report that has come from the Finance and Expenditure Committee. Pleased to report on it, Mr Chair, because we have in this economy, in this country, a finance minister who is envied around the world by other finance ministers because of the decisions that this government has taken and has helped this economy to get to the position that we are now in. Mr Speaker, Mr Chair, we are living in a country with one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Mr Chair, we're living in a country where 80,000 people gained a job in the last year. Mr Chair, we are living in a country where we have high growth rates and relatively low inflation rates, which is leading to our country improving year after year. And Mr Chair, we are proud to speak on this side of the House about the growing economy and about the success of Bill English, and Mr Chair, this whole House should be celebrating that. Mr Chair, one of the measures of whether the New Zealand public and those investing in this country feel confident about the direction the country is heading in is whether or not they're willing to commit their cold hard cash and front up and invest in the economy. Mr Chair, last week the Honourable Bill English was in my electorate to visit several important developments. And I want to mention those today because, Mr Chair, they are evidence that New Zealanders are feeling happier, they are feeling as though the economy is going in the right direction, they feel as though this country is worth backing. Mr Chair, the construction launch of the Ormiston Town Centre that the Honourable Bill English launched last week is a $500 million investment by Todd Corporation. Mr Chair, that has got 700 houses in it, 30,000 square metres of retail, 40,000 people will be serviced by that retail development. Mr Chair, that is evidence that in my own electorate, New Zealanders are happier to invest because of the economic settings that we've put in place. After visiting the Ormiston Town Centre construction, Mr Chair, he then visited the Highbrook development, which, Mr Chair, has got 500,000 square metres of commercial space, will employ 15,000 people in that development, and there's 107 hectares of development. That again is evidence that the economic settings put in place by this government is leading to more investment in our economy. Mr Chair, investment in our economy only flows if you have the right economic settings. Mr Chair, the fact that we are cleaning up the mess left by the Labor government, which would have seen net debt as a percentage of GDP reach 60% of GDP, the fact that we are cleaning that up, turning it around and are getting ourselves back into a position where New Zealanders are happy to invest in this country is a positive thing. Mr Chair, the fact also that New Zealanders are voting with their feet and are coming home and are no longer leaving our country to go offshore is another positive indicator that we should be proud of. Mr Chair, when we came into office, Mr Chair, about 30,000 New Zealanders a year were leaving this country to go offshore. And Mr Chair, we are now seeing New Zealanders choosing to come home and live in New Zealand. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by pure chance. It happens because the government puts in place settings that leads to greater investment, that leads to greater job growth, which leads to higher wages, and it leads to New Zealand becoming a more desirable place for people to live in. And so, Mr Chair, when we talk in this House about what the Labor Party likes to call doom and gloom, and we talk about the fact that it is actually improving. When we talk about economic settings in this House, the very important indicator we must always watch is whether New Zealanders are voting with their feet. They vote with their feet, they vote with their pockets, and they vote at the ballot box as well. And Mr Chair, the New Zealand public have endorsed once again the economic progress that this country is making. I wish to challenge the members opposite that was talking just a few minutes ago about interest rates, because that's a very interesting question that we often debate in this House. Mr Chair, let's not forget that in 2008, when the Labour New Zealand First coalition left office, interest rates were about double what they are now. And Mr Tabuto, please do not come into this chamber and lecture about interest rates when the very party that he is part of was part of a government that had an economy with interest rates double what they are today. Mr Speaker, Mr Chair, Mr Chair.
Jami-Lee Ross.